Welcome to the Air Lift Workshop, where you get expertise from the air suspension specialists, keeping you on the road and in top condition. Today, we're installing a LoadLifter 7500 XL kit on a Chevy Silverado 2500 HD. Installation will take about an hour and a half using common mechanics tools. Remember, this overview doesn't replace your installation manual, so grab yours out of the box and let's get started. Raise the truck with a floor jack and support the frame with jack stands to make room for the air spring assembly. For filming purposes, we're using a drive-on vehicle hoist. Start your installation by preparing the vehicle. Remove the jounce bumper from the jounce bumper bracket with a pry bar or a large screwdriver. Then, remove the bolt that holds the emergency brake line bracket to the inside of the driver's side frame rail. Remove the 3 bolts that hold the brake lines to the rear axle jounce bumper strike plates. Pull the emergency brake cables clear of the jounce bumper strike plate, making room for the lower bracket. Set a roll plate on both ends of the air spring. Screw the elbow fitting to the top of the air spring so that it's finger tight. Then use an open wrench to tighten 1.5 turns. Attach the upper brackets to the top of the air springs using the provided flathead bolts. Determine which lower bracket holes to use by setting the brackets next to each other, pointing the angled sections together. Attach to the air springs using the first and third holes on each bracket. Use the provided flathead bolts to attach the lower brackets to the air springs. Position the air spring assemblies over the jounce bumper strike plates. The fittings should be located on the inside of the frame. Position the upper brackets so that they nest around the jounce bumper bracket. For trucks without a fifth wheel hitch bracket alongside the frame, place 2 U-bolts over the frame, keeping them between the frame and all the brake lines and wiring. Thread the U-bolts through the upper bracket mounting holes. Cap the U-bolts with washers and nylon lock nuts. Then torque evenly in a crisscross pattern. For trucks with a fifth wheel hitch bracket, use the holes in the upper bracket to guide you in drilling 2 5/16" holes through the bottom of the frame. Attach the upper brackets using the included self-tapping screws. Reattach the emergency brake cable with the emergency brake cable bracket and a lock nut to the inside forward leg of the driver's side U-bolt. Position the lower brackets so that they best align with the bellows. Insert 2 carriage bolts through the lower bracket. Use a lower clamp bar to tighten the carriage bolts to the axle with flat washers and nylon lock nuts. On the driver's side, reattach the brake lines to the lower bracket using the provided M8 screws and flat washers. On the passenger side, reattach the brake cable to the lower bracket using the provided M8 screw and flat washer. Before routing air lines to the air springs, note the available length and pick a convenient drilling location for the inflation valve. We'll use the bumper as our drilling location, but you could also use the license plate recess, wheel well flanges, or under the gas cap access door. Place a nut and star washer on the inflation valve and push it through the previously drilled hole. Use a rubber washer, flat washer, and nut to secure it in place. Then twist the valve cap on. Before cutting your air line, remember to never cut from the side. You'll leave a jagged edge and ruin the hose. Instead, use a hose cutter or sharp razor blade to get a clean cut. Route the longest air line path first. Secure it along the frame using the provided zip ties. Once routed, measure an extra 12 inches, then cut the air line. Following the same guidelines, route, secure, and cut the second air line. Slip the hose protector over the end of the air line on the passenger side. Now insert both lines into their bellows push-to-connect fitting and push the hose protector up against it. Install the provided heat shield on the exhaust pipe that passes near the passenger's side air spring. Bend the tabs to provide a dead air space between the exhaust pipe and the heat shield. Attach the heat shield to the exhaust pipe using the provided clamps. Bend the heat shield for maximum clearance of the air spring. To make sure your airlift kit is airtight, inflate the system to 30 psi and spray a soap solution on all connections and valves while checking for exiting air bubbles. That does it.